Shalom. Shalom, everyone. Yeah. A little late. Every time I do the news, there's always extra things are, let me throw this in, let me throw this in, let me throw this in. Or scripture. Alright, well, try to put one scripture in and it's like, let me put this one in, and this one too, and this one's a good one too. It takes longer. You guys doing alright? You guys slept good on the Sabbath? How much time we got left? 35? Oh, time's up. Time's up. Welcome to True Hebrews United. The Almighty Yeshua. Yeah, I didn't have time to draw anything. So definitely thank the Almighty. Thank the Almighty for Zooms. It's a major blessing. Thank the Almighty for a week that we had. People that are still alive to this day. Whitney just knew someone that like a week ago or 2 weeks ago just passed away. He's in his 30s or something. That he allowed us to have our family, allowed us to have friends, employment. We'll be dealing with that today. Even the smaller blessings, you know what I'm saying? Even the smaller blessings, you know? Like, man, I haven't been sick in a while. I hear stories where, even on my job, where I end up laying this guy off because, you know, they're sick. Or they're getting write-ups because they're sick and didn't have a doctor's note. How do you get a doctor's note if you're in the bed throwing up? If you're sick enough, if you're well enough to drive to the doctor, then you're probably well enough to go to work. So people getting laid off for dumb reasons, you know. So even just health in and of itself could keep you employed. So I definitely thank the Almighty for the small blessings. And for the family, the friends, the jobs, the food, the raiment, the clothes on our back, we take for granted. You know, we take our car for granted until we put it in the ignition and we turn and nothing happens. Then you're like, how much is it going to cost? What's wrong with my car? How am I going to get to work? But while it's working perfectly fine, year 1, year 2, year 3, just basic stuff like an oil change and windshield wipers or something, little minor stuff, you're not even tripping. You know, we just take it for granted. And then when you like don't have a car, or when you're catching a bus, or when you're having a carpool, you're like, man, I need my car back. Sometimes we get like that. We just think that because food's always been in the refrigerator, that it always will be in the refrigerator, you know. So because I've always had employment, I always will have employment, right? So I just thank the Almighty through Yeshua Mashiach for even the small blessings. Welcome to True Hebrews United, the Almighty Yeshua. To be love, holiness, instructed, discipleship, drill sergeant. About to get into the book again. Definitely give all honor to the Creator of heaven and earth, and all that is in therein. That dictates everyone. That knows of my thought from afar off. Every step I'm going to take, everything I'm going to do. That allowed me to come into this Sabbath. that allowed me to come into the truth, into his diet, into his laws, into his precepts, that out of all these churches out there, he allowed me to come into his truth. He gave me his Sabbath as a covenant between me and him. He allowed me to be a son. Out of all these people claiming to be a son, few people will be a son. Few people will be a daughter of the Most High. Allow my children to walk in truth and have them read the word and build a foundation, a strong foundation as a kid, to where they're learning the word and the scriptures. And even, Lord willing, I pray that all my kids make it into the kingdom. But if they go out, they can never say they didn't have parents that didn't teach them the right way to go. They can't say that, no, I've seen my parents do this and this. They can say, no, my parents are living holy and living righteous. You know what I'm saying? There's no hypocrisy in our house, you know. So definitely thank the Almighty for that. Double honor to the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the teachers, the elders, the bishops, the deacons across the whole world. Pray for the ones in the Congo and Ghana and whatnot, that they're killing believers. I don't know if they're in truth or not, but they're holding this Bible up, so they have some similitude of truth, and they're trying to live holy and live righteous to their understanding. And a lot of the Muslims and whatnot and are killing them, you know, and kidnapping their kids is bad. If you look at some of those documentaries, I'm talking about it's going on right now, like now, right? So pray that, you know, same thing with the ones in China. They banned the Bible. The Bible was banned in China, and they were burning down. There was a time, it was years ago, they were burning down churches, or a place where they worship, and they had to go underground, like the book of Acts, when they had to go underground because Pharisees and the Sadducees were taking people to prison if you preach Yeshua HaMashiach and the resurrection. And that's how it was in China, that people that's just trying to keep the scriptures are being persecuted against. And we're spoiled in America because there's very few, other than not being able to get a job because you keep the Sabbath, certain things like that. We suffer very light persecution, very light, just a mild inconvenience. Because you could still get a job, it may not pay as much, but it's like more of a mild inconvenience. I won't even call it persecution or oppression. So definitely thank the ministers out there really teaching the word, holding the standard. Pray for the ones across the world that's going through oppression and persecution and still standing in their faith, standing strong. All the brothers and sisters keeping the commandments, the statutes, the judgments, precepts, and ways. All the people on the Facebook and YouTube that share, like, comment, subscribe to the videos. I appreciate you and share. Definitely share. If something ministered to you, share that video. Get that out. It may be the video someone else needs to repent and live holy. You know, you get mad when people steal from you. You get mad when people lie and deceive you. You get mad when people get over on you. Well, do your part and spread this gospel. The reason why a lot of this stuff goes on is because so many people get content with just living holy and not being the light of the world. You know, go get that word out there. Go be an example. Go be that light. They dwell in darkness. All they know is darkness. All they do is darkness. Go be that light. Let them see another way. Let them see what love is. Let them see what appreciation, mercy, and grace is, right? So, definitely thank the Almighty for all that. Appreciate you guys. It'll probably be a shorter service today because I'm behind in the news. And so I'm going to deal with a little bit on the news right now. But I'm going to deal with some scriptures right now. I'm going to merge the news with the scriptures. And so you have a better understanding. Every once in a while, I do this every 3 or 4 months. I'm going to start bringing this stuff out there, so it might be repetitive, but let you know why we do what we do. Go ahead and give me Matthew. With all that said and being done, let's let the fingers do the walking and the scriptures do the talking. Matthew 24. And we're going to go with verse 1, Matthew 24, verse 1. Let's get it. And Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and the disciples came to him to shew him the building of the temple. And Yeshua said unto them, See not all these things, verily I say unto you, there shall not be one left here, one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And it did happen when the Hebrews revolted under the Romans' rule. The Romans destroyed the temple. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of the coming and the end of the world? Speaking of the Mount Olives, when he wept on the Mount Olives, when you see where David was running from Absalom, and he was mourning and weeping, and it was on the Mount of Olives. All of it is weird. I didn't even catch that until I read that last Sabbath. So that same mountain, hundreds of years earlier, David was up there trying to flee from Absalom. So I'll probably show you guys one day. But and Yeshua said unto them, because they asked 3 questions. Tell us, what shall these things be? Destruction of Jerusalem and the sign of thy coming and the end of the world. And we're mainly Christians, and especially Christians that don't know who the true Hebrews are, because how did you come into salvation not even knowing who the people of the book are when the book was written to the people of the book? So these 3, and I'm not going to deal with Bible prophecy, but my main point is watch and pray and why we bring up the news. So, and it says, and Yeshua answered and said, take heed that no man deceive you, for you shall, some shall come in my name, some I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And we've seen that. And I think one in Europe and one in Mexico where they said they were Christ, and they got a big following too. And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See ye not, be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, which we see even now. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of the sorrows. And then he's going to deal with persecution of the saints and whatnot during the destruction of Jerusalem, as well as a sign of his coming, Jacob's trouble, right? So it says these are the beginnings of the sorrows. So let me get you 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I was telling him, Brother Vince, kind of like when you work at a job, this is a side note, when you work at a job and there's like, in construction, there's 20 lazy people. Like there's 20 employees. Some are go-getters. I'm more of a hungry person. I'm a go-getter. Some are now run-of-the-mill cookie cutter. They're just workers. They're good workers. Nothing special. They're just a worker. Some people want more. Some people, you know. And then you have the lazy ones. And as soon as the first or 2 layoffs hit, that's when everyone want to put pep in their step. But you already set your reputation. You've already done. And too many believers, right when they hear the news, it's too late. We have certain things our congregation is invested in. And by the time the general population realize what this investment is going to do for the world, you're already going to be priced out. You should have been in there, I don't know, 5 years ago. You should have been planting your seeds and watering your trees. By the time you're going through a famine and you start, we need to get some heirloom seeds. By the time your mango tree produces fruit, that's 3 years. You already starved to death. How about you plant your mango tree right now? And then in 3 years, when persecution comes, you already have large trees that already produce fruit. And everyone wants to react and not be preemptive. That's the problem. This is why the Almighty told us to watch and pray that these days don't catch you unaware. So let's get into the scripture and I'll continue with this. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 5. Remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he may be revealed in his time. The man of sin he's talking about. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he now that letteth until he be taken out of the way. And that's what happens. By the time you realize what's going on, it's going to be too late, right? And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume in the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So we know the man of sin is going to come and have domain over this world for 3.5 up to 7 years, right? And then the Almighty is going to start blowing these trumpets during that time. But then when he blows that last trumpet, he's going to destroy some stuff, right? even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, who all powers and signs and lying wonders, with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they have not a love for the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Almighty shall send strong delusion, that they believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not in the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. So not only is Satan going to deceive, but he's going to send that delusion on you. You'll see a Kendra G or other people. You'll see a woman with 3 kids, probably 2 baby daddies. And then they say, I want a man that at least makes 100 figures. I can't take a man that doesn't make under 100 figures because, I got kids. And so the delusion is, if a person makes 100 figures, which only 8% of the population, probably less than that with all these layoffs, if only 8% of the population make, so you want the top 10, but you're bringing extra, you're not as valuable as your childless self. And that's where the delusion kicks in, because they don't realize only 1 in 4 of you will ever get married. And they don't believe that if you become a baby mama, you have a high probability of dying a baby mama. If you become a single mother, you have a high probability of dying a single mother. Please, you women, you are very valuable. And because you're so valuable, please require marriage prior to having a man's child. That's how valuable you are. That needs to be your price mark. For me to have your child, I require marriage. I refuse to be a baby mama. All right? So, the Almighty will send this strong delusion that they believe a lie. So how do we not be deceived as we are believers? Like he gave us signs. It says, many shall come in my name. There should be wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places. So as we serve the Almighty, we're supposed to be looking at current events, world events. We can't just be focused on, oh, look at this TikTok video where he's doing this dance and all that stuff, right? They caught up in too much of the wrong things instead of looking at world events. Oh, I don't get into politics. You better. I don't focus on the war in Ukraine and this and God. You might want to do that, because some of these things pertain that can lead up to what we're looking for. We need to see if we are able to spot, oh, that's the man of sin right there, then we already know the signs are coming. We already know, all right, it's getting ready, right? Next scripture, 2 Timothy chapter 3. All right. 2 Timothy chapter 3, book over. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 12. Yea, all that will live godly in the Yeshua HaMashiach shall suffer persecution. I just added that scripture in there, but I want you guys to take note of that. It says, yes, all that will live godly in Yeshua HaMashiach, or HaMashiach Yeshua, shall suffer persecution. And you're sitting, anytime it gets tough, people run from adversity. But it says, if you're in him, and if you're living godly, you will suffer persecution. You're literally trying to fight the Bible, running from adversity. It says this is part of being a living sacrifice, right? But verse 12, but a man shall seduce and wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue thou in the things which you have learned, and been assured in knowing of whom thou hast learned them. It says, in these times, people are going to be deceiving people and being deceived. Last scripture, then we'll get into some news and get back into the scriptures. Luke 21. Verse 34. Take heed to yourselves, lest any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeitness and drunken and cares of this life, so that the day come upon you unawares. Now, he dealt with a little bit sin, but he dealt with the cares of this life. Every once in a while, he talks to the brothers and sisters. I'm like, so what's up? What you got on the news? You got any rabbit holes, anything? And there was a time where it was very disappointing. Now we're on game, because it's like you don't keep up with, so you go to work and you spend time with the fam, but if you're just surfing your Facebook, surfing your TikTok, surfing your Instagram, surfing your Etsy or whatever, Twitter, whatever these people, you spend all this time just looking up random, useless YouTube, that was funny, YouTube videos, but you don't know what's going on. This is what it's saying. It says you're going to get caught unaware. True Hebrews United, we failed big time, and it was a test. And 2019, as you know, this pandemic happened, and we didn't know that we needed to get latex gloves, and we didn't know, and it just came unaware. We got caught unaware, and I wouldn't call it a 100% failure. We just didn't know that that was coming. Had we known that was coming, then we would have done it. Could the world really know? I'm not sure. I wasn't looking in that direction, nor did I think they'll do that, because they did have the Agenda 21, which they accomplished very well. So we were looking for the Agenda 21. So, yeah, there's a lot of supplies that we would have gotten had we known, right? So I wouldn't say it was a failure, but we did get caught slipping, right? So, as well as a lot of people in truth. So, it says, with the cares of this life, so that the day come on you unaware. These things are going to happen to get us to the man of sin. Certain things are going to happen, and they're going to bring you into subjection. And so how do we move around to navigate and make our move on the chessboard to where we're not caught unaware, right? So, for as a snare shall come onto all them that dwell upon the face of the earth, a trap is going to be laid for everyone on the earth. And that happened in 2019. Because what happened in 2021? They came up with the solution for the pandemic, which was more poison, the king cobra bite. And what happened? The trap was laid, and 80+% of the whole world took this king cobra bite. Now, women aren't able to have kids, or they're infertile, miscarriages went up, cancer was up, myocarditis went up, all this stuff went up. People dying, kids dying, because they believed the people that was deceiving. They believed the deceived, right? So, go ahead and give me, all right, let's deal with the news now. I didn't finish that, right? For a snare shall come upon them that dwell upon the face of the earth. So there's going to be a trap that's going to deceive everyone. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that you may be counted worthy to escape these things that shall come to pass, and shall stand before the Son of Man. So it says, watch and pray therefore. So if we're not supposed to be caught unaware, then that means we need to make moves. Faith without works, yet being alone. You say, well, I'll just stay in Babylon because the Almighty will make a way. Then what is the point for you to watch and pray if he was going to take care of you no matter what? He's doing that so you can make your moves. Faith without works is dead being alone. So, 2024. Let's go with the dead internet theory. I was talking to the brothers this way. They said in 2016, the internet was pretty much dead. It was more bots than anything. Now, in 2024, there's a company, I got to put this in my notes, but there's a company that does cybersecurity, and they monitor how much of the internet is actual people and actual bots. In 2024, we'll deal with this in a little bit, but 70% of people on the planet have a smartphone. 70%. And that's roughly 5 billion. Now, there are 1 billion websites, roughly, on the internet. 1 billion websites. The average time a person uses, and I believe this is true because I'm on the internet quite a bit, whether it's for the news, whether it's on Facebook right now, the average time someone's on the internet is 6 hours and 35 minutes online. Now, out of that 6 hours, what did you do? I looked at how to, yesterday I looked up on YouTube how to, one of my outlets was not working for my cigarette lighter right now, or the 12-volt charger, whatever, right? So I was like, dude, what's up with this? Well, they said, all right, check the fuse. You looked up the fuse box. I said, this is the fuse to this, 2001 Chevy Tahoe. Well, all right, the fuse is good, all right. If that's not it, he drew a drawing from the battery to the fuse to the outlet. He says, now put your negative, get your multimeter, put it on the negative, and then each fuse has this little prong coming out to where it's put it on there and see if it's receiving it to the fuse box. It was receiving it to the fuse box. I was like, all right, cool. So they said, all right, so it's going to be from the fuse to the outlet, right? Plug into the basic outlet, plug in there, plug in, 0. They said, okay, so you need to pull out that. And I didn't do it because it's about to turn the Sabbath, but I know what I'm going to do Sunday. I'm going to fix my outlet. So being on YouTube isn't wrong, but out of your 6 hours, what are you using? Are you just doing it with stupid, useless videos? Okay, entertainment a little bit, but I use my stuff for productivity, like this news that I do. So the average person's on the internet, right? 6.5 hours a day. Now, we already know I dealt with this. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now YouTube. They said that they're going to do machine learning algorithms. So they're going to set up bots. So they're trying to make it to where there are more bots on the internet than now. So right now in 2023, they said that 50% were bots. Almost all the internet is bots and AI. Almost all your internet. Half of your friends or 85% of your friends on Facebook is not real people. Even though they have a picture, they may have a link or whatever, it's not a real person. Some of the comments that goes against what you're saying is not even a real person. And you're sitting here going back and forth with a person that does not exist. They do that they want engagement. They want you to keep coming on Facebook. So they may put this out there to do engagement. I told you guys that with the video games. The reason why newer video games, first-person shooter video games, you can't log in with your friends and go as a team is because they're using AI to make it seem like you're playing real people. But based upon how good you are, they'll add tougher opponents, people, AI against you. And if you start losing a lot and you're not on the game as much, then they'll bring you in the ring with lesser people to where you feel like you're winning. And they're trying to get you to use AI to play more of their Battlefield or Call of Duty or whatnot. And you think you're playing real people, but you're not playing real people. This is why they can't allow you and your friends to link up in a group and you guys play together. More and more games are doing that because that goes against what we're trying to do and have you play against fake real people, right? So, what the government is doing, which is speculation, is that they use that to give you direction. They're using now bots to push propaganda because no one trusts Fox News, no one trusts CNN, no one trusts mainstream media. But if I put out something and say, hey, look, NASA got caught in a lie, I forgot there was an encyclopedia. I was trying to buy it and I cannot find this encyclopedia. And this thing, 1958. It's a 1958 encyclopedia. In the encyclopedia, you look up Antarctica. In Antarctica, it tells you that there is a dome wall. And it gives you the degrees of the wall and how high the dome goes over the earth. And right after 1958 encyclopedia, that they took that out. But this encyclopedia shows you that there's a dome that goes over the earth, right? And I was like, dude, I need to buy that. Where's that encyclopedia? I want to buy that encyclopedia because immediately they took that out, right? But say I put that out there and then all these people, not media, and we won't flag you. They'll say, oh, that's a bot. Oh, that's a lie, this and this. That got debunked. That's a conspiracy theory. And then people look at the comments, a real person looks at the comments, and they see all these different people with YouTube channels saying that's been debunked 3 years ago. That's not true, this and this. And so they think that's a lie, when really all your comments, 90, 100% of your comments are fake people. They're not even real people. They just use that to go against the truth. If I want you to buy my product, I'll use bots to push the commercial and then push the comments on the commercial and then push the reviews, and they're all fake bots. Like when people used to pay for subscribers, I don't know if people still do, or pay for comments and all that. This is where it's going. And they're going to use that to manipulate and deceive you to believe what you want to believe with the Ukraine war, with Gaza, with this, anything. They're going to use that to deceive you. But for us, the people of the Most High, we're not going to be deceived because we're living holy, living righteous. And we watch and pray that these days don't catch us unaware. It's sad that I'm going to realize by the time I fully close down shop, I'm going to make my run through with the people in the States and see if I'll teach and try to get them to meet me and run through. But it's sad. A lot of them's going to miss out on opportunities for generational wealth because they don't watch and pray. They just focus on this and don't focus on other ways to make income and passive income and whatnot. And a lot of these people are going to get caught unaware. And I'm talking about people that could be living holy. But now you're stuck in Babylon because for you to leave, you have to get the mark of the beast, or you have to get a microchip, or you have to get some kind of vaccination, or you have. By the time you realize what's going on, you're already stuck in the trap. We just read that there will be a trap. A snare is a trap. When you set up a snare to catch a rabbit or whatever, a fox, whatever you're trying to catch, it says there will be a trap for the whole world. Watch and pray that these days don't catch you unaware. This is why I bring the news, because I know a lot of you people of the Most High ain't going to do it. You're going to get on your YouTube and watch stupid YouTube channels to get a little laugh, or look at some gossip, or this rapper's gay, this rapper's like, whatever you guys do. Oh, what's going to happen with P. Diddy in prison and all this other stuff and trivial stuff that have no value with watching and praying and looking what's the signs and the times that's coming and where we're at and what we need to do, right? So, all right. Let's get with, the company's called Imperative Company. It's an AI company made to monitor how many posts are fake and how many posts are real. Hopefully I spelled it right. Imperative something. I don't know. They just said it, so I'm just trying to write it down how it sounded. I don't know. But there's a company that monitors the traffic, and over half of it is bots. When you're on Facebook and people give you friend requests, the AI is going to get so good to where they'll have pictures and they'll maybe have a little feed for 3 or 4 years down. So you're like, oh, this is a real person. It's probably a bot. AI is only going to get better and is only going to be able to deceive people better and better and better, and it's going to master the art of deception. So yes, you could tell, oh, that's a bot, because look, it only has like one post and it just stops. And it says it's been online for 7 years, but it only has 2 pictures and that's it. Yeah, it's easy now, but wait until they really develop it. So let's keep going. Next topic. 10 million people in student loan default. 10 million in student loan default. And now wage are going to be garnished. 10 million is going to start. I think in 2026, I think they pass it now. So the garnishment for 10 million student loan people is going to start. 60% haven't started paying their student loans, and 1 in 3 are in default. They're going to garnish wages and tax returns without going to court. So that's the law that's being passed. So they don't even have to go to court no more. Like child support, you got to go to court. You got to put him or her on child support. Then they do that. Then it goes to the DMV. It goes to your barber's license, your doctor's license, your dentist's license. They start garnishing wages when you get a job, and they send a thing to your tax return, your VIN number, whatever. Then they start garnishing your wages. But it had to go to court to get child support. They don't just take child support. It had to go to some kind of court. This, you won't go to court, right? So a lot of people are not doing it. College is the worst scam. That's the main way of oppression in the United States. So college is the best way to enslave a country. Now, in the beginning, we know college was made for Europeans, Caucasians, white people, to get jobs that minorities can't. Because we require a degree and you are of this nationality. So what we're going to do, we're going to raise the bar. So now I have a reason to not hire you, and I can still keep facing not saying that I'm racist or prejudiced, right? So then these government programs came out to give essential aid, because there was more poor white people than rich white people that could afford to pay for their kids to go to college. So they made these government programs, but it went to everyone. So now everyone had the ability to get a loan to go to college. So now they raise, oh, well, you have a bachelor's, I need a master's, or I need a doctorate. So they keep raising the bar, but more and more opportunities came for minorities to get good paying jobs. But these colleges got greedy, and not only do they overprice the college classes, but these governments will give government student loans, knowing that the majority of these people won't find jobs and be able to pay off the debt. And they charge interest on that. So let's give out 10 million loans and then charge interest on that And most of these people won't get a career in their field that will make 100K. They'll get something that makes 70K, so they'll never be able to pay off the loan, and we get money through interest from them to the day that they die. To the day that they die. It's predatory loans. Same thing when you get a cash advance. Some of them charge like 25%, whatever. When you get a cash advance loan, check loan or whatnot, those are predatory loans. Same thing as a car dealership. Same thing as a credit card charging 23% APY, stuff like that. Getting a straight car loan, how they charge you high and try to up and find little, oh, we got pinstripes and this, and we got nitrogen air and put all this, scratch proof gloss and all that stupid stuff to overcharge you, and they get over on you on your credit score and whatnot. All this stuff. This whole country is kicking man while they down. But carrying on. So, now, you're going to see a lot of people that were struggling now, they're going to be struggling worse. 10 million of them. 10 million of them. Because the majority of them aren't even jobs. And we're going to deal in the job market. Vacational schools is what you need to get. Get your kids into something with their hands. I am a HVAC sheet metal worker. I am in the union. I'm a top dollar wherever state I go. Top dollar for what that is. So maybe they want to be a plumber. They get, most plumbers, some states they get paid less than sheet metal workers. Some states they get paid more. Electricians, they typically get paid more. You know what I'm saying? Electrician, plumber, sheet metal worker, iron worker, they get paid pretty good. Carpenters and drywallers, they're all right. You'll make a good living, but they're not mechanical. Mechanical trades get paid better than just regular basic trades, you know, drywall and whatnot. So get them in a trade, 5 years. You got $100,000 worth of debt and you went to college for 5 years. I went to this sheet metal and then I make more than you because you can't find a job in your stuff. And no, I'm not comparing, but they brainwash these people. They deceive these people. It says, go to college, get a good job, buy a house, all that good stuff, American dream, right? No, you go to college, rack up debt, don't get the job that you went to school for, get a low-paying job, and be a debt slave for the rest of your life. That's the new American dream, being a debt slave, college debt for the rest of your life. People that are doctors, they're working 12 hours, 24-hour shifts, not 24 hours, but 12-hour shifts, 5 days a week or whatnot, long hours, nurses, long hours, and they don't have time to buy a house because they have their student loan debt. Some of them are able to pay off their student loan debt and buy a house, but the majority of them, they said, I got to pick between paying off this $200,000 loan, pretty much a house, or buying a house. Some of the debt is more than that. So, yeah, it's getting bad. I would suggest, if you can, get into some kind of trade. I've been seeing a lot of women get into the trades too. It's weird in Arizona. A lot of them. I'm like, all right, but whatever, right? Get into a trade, get your children into a trade. It's getting tough out here. We're going to get into the job market right now. The reason why I say that, be careful with your credit cards, get your credit cards down. Be careful with these car loans and be careful with these college loans. Be careful with that. Proverbs 22:7. Proverbs 22, verse 7. It says, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Why I elaborate on the scripture, Brother Vince, can you get I forgot. I wanted you to get a scripture, but when it comes to mine, I'll get it. So the borrower is servant to a lender. If we can, we want to be free. If you have the ability, pay off the credit cards. There's plenty of YouTube videos to teach you how. Typically, you pay off the smallest amount first. Use that money, the $50 that you're paying off, and you paid it off, and apply it to start paying off a bigger one. Not the biggest one, and then snowball that until where you're getting out of debt. Not only your credit score will jump up probably 100 points, but also you'll have a little bit of cushion when you have that emergency transmission that went out. Or you got to get some brake pads or whatever, right? Get out of debt. Don't be a servant if we have to. Let us just serve the Most High. Go ahead and give me 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Corinthians chapter 7. We'll start at verse 21. Art thou called being a servant? Care not for it. But if thou may be made free, use it rather. So yes, the borrower is servant to the lender. But it says if you're a servant and you could get free, use it. If you could get debt free, use it. Who wants to be a servant to a person that does not care about them and wants you to stay a servant through this $200 payment because you owe $200,000, and that's accrued interest to where you're never going to pay off that debt. You won't live long enough to pay off that debt just paying. And some of the payment programs, I was seeing one where the payment programs was $40 a week, and then that only covered the interest. That did not cover the principal of the loan. So essentially you will be forever pay off this debt. If you can get free, use it, get free, get out of debt. Because who wants to have this financial struggle and live paycheck to paycheck? That's surviving, that's not living. It says that the gift of the Almighty is to enjoy the fruit of your labor. Don't you want to live? How are you living when you're buried in debt? Get out of debt. Some of you guys use credit cards for things you don't need to. And it's self-inflicted. And then you're playing with the rattlesnake because these are predatory loans. Credit cards, car loans. If you better be a good negotiator going to get a car. You better watch a whole bunch of YouTubes, know what to ask, know what to say. Don't tell if you're going to do a trade-in. Don't tell them you're going to pay cash. Don't tell them how much you have down. Like, you better do your full research going to these dealerships because they're a con man. And these student loans. Before you go to school, make sure you can't get replaced by AI. Oh, I'm going into finance. I'm going into straight marketing. Stuff that, like, oversaturated. I'm going into psychology. I'm going into criminal law. I'm going into, like, leave that stuff alone. And especially if AI can replace you. AI is trying to replace lawyers. Like, you guys are setting yourself up. Some of you guys use your credit cards for stupid stuff. Hey, if you have to eat rice and beans for a week, then eat rice and beans for a week. Don't just go to the taco shop and spend $12 here. And you got to get a drink. The burrito's like $8, $10. And then you got to get a horchata with it. There's another $4, so you're out $15. And that's just one meal. And guess what? In 5 or 6 hours, you're going to be hungry again. So let me go ahead and buy another $30 total. Add that up. I see people buying a Red Bull. Or that's $2, $2.50, $3. They do it for lunch, they do it for break, and I'm talking about they're buying that thing. Then they're buying their meals. It's $8, $10 a pop. They rock $30 for lunch and break. Almost $30 lunch and break. That's $150 when you could just make a big thing of spaghetti, when you could just make sandwiches and bring sandwiches. And then they be living paycheck to paycheck, man. In this government, no, some of it's you. You're the reason. Like, hey, take a step back and roll. Like, I'm in a pretty good financial situation. And, hey, I rock this phone. It still has a button. It does talk and text. Don't do internet no more because it won't give my updates. But it does my talk and text. I don't need the fanciest phone. I don't need the shiniest car. I stay within my means. And for that, I'm setting up my family for generational wealth. I don't have to do all that stuff. Quit running for stuff. Some of you guys mess up because you run to the shiny car with the high car payment and high insurance, and you run for the house. Or you could just run to the retirement. I'll just go slow and I'll run to retirement. It says wealth generation is the transfer from the impatient to the patient. And I see it all the time. People are impatient, and because of that, oh, I want it now. Let them get their tax return. Within 2 months, they don't have a tax return. I'm telling you, they'll get it in March, and these guys don't have a tax return left by April, May. May is gone. Oh, I got furniture. I got this. I got this. I got this. Tax return gone. They get a couple $1,000, $6,000, $13,000. Bam, tax return gone. Quick. How many millionaires end up broken homeless? How many basketball players and football players end up broken homeless? You guys want instant. Oh, well, I want that big screen TV now. I want this. Ah, man, it's like $1,200 for this TV. I'll just stack it on the credit card. But before you paid off that TV, you're like, dude, I'm only like 20% paid off this. I'm still making payments off this on my credit card, but I really want that couch. Swipe it on the credit card. And then you have a real emergency. Oh, my car broke down. Okay, you have one real one, but the rest was superficial. And it's like instant gratification, instant gratification. The borrower, you're being a servant to the credit card company. You're being a servant to the student loans. You know? Man, I can't really afford this car. If I stretch it, man, and I work overtime, I can make an $800 car payment. Yeah, let me go ahead and do it. And now you done messed up. Why didn't you just get something for 6 G's? Had a little oxidation on it. It's paid off. And you're not struggling paycheck to paycheck. But no, you have to have it now. And because of that, repossessions have went sky high happening. Repossessions went sky high. Look it up. Repossessions went up like 21% this year. Because people want something that they cannot afford. And instead of saying, this is where I'm at in life, it's not a shiny car, and it's not a big house, and it's not the best phone, and it's not the best clothes. But this is where I'm at, and I could take any emergency. I could take my car being down and me having to pay for a rental for a couple of weeks, and I could get that fixed. I could take an emergency, and I could take, if I have to go fly out to go visit someone for a funeral, I could take these hits because I'm within my range. But no, you guys got to max out. You guys got to red line. So it don't take too much. Oh, if a job happens, if I lost my job today, me and the Fabs could take a hit for a couple weeks, couple months if we had to. You know, not stretching it, a couple months, yeah, we could stretch it, right? We ain't that good, but we'll be all right, right? But when you're this and you got laid off, most people are 3 checks away from bankruptcy. Could you take not getting paid for 3 weeks and be okay? Well, no. Well, maybe you're living outside your means. Maybe you need to pay off that credit card debt. The borrower is servant to the lender. You know what I'm saying? And so, let's get out of that mindset. There was another scripture had to do with borrowing. Brother Vince, if you could get the scripture that says, "Owe no man anything." Actually, I can find it right now. I forgot I got this phone. Because there's nothing wrong with borrowing, right? It's Romans 13:8. Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth hath fulfilled the law, right? So there's nothing wrong with borrowing, but once you get a chance, then pay them back. Get out of debt. Quit being a slave. Like these people voluntarily want to go to the plantation and be in credit card debt and student loan debt. And I get it. You're trying to further yourself, but these jobs, do more time, go to your school of learning what jobs it's not going to collapse. Learning what jobs it's not oversaturated. Because don't pick a job that's oversaturated. Could AI take this job away? We're dealing with a sister at a congregation, and she's of age. She teaches South Koreans English, and she gets paid a decent amount, but a lot of her peers are quitting because they're using AI to do it. Because AI can look like a real person. Some of these commercials are AI generated people, and it looks almost real. Like it looks real. So why use a real person if I can use AI to teach? And when they ask questions, AI can answer back to teach you English. So pretty soon, tutors are going to cease to exist because AI is going to be teaching you a different language. Not a real person over a Zoom call. AI. And so study that prior to going to school. Let the real studying start before you choose to go to college. Let's keep going. Give me the job crisis. Again, I deal with this again. I would suggest, I'll deal with the statistics real quick. Intel, once again, Intel already been laying off people, but 2025, by the end of 2025, they're going to lay off another 21,000 workers. 21,000 workers. This is worldwide because they got Intel. I actually work at Intel, by the way, but not for Intel, but doing construction as a subcontractor. By then 2025 worldwide. NASA is going to cut 3,800, which NASA's fake anyways, but whatever. I mean, the organization's real, but the stuff they do will be telling lies all the time. One person, the job crisis is so bad, and I look at the job crisis, and so it's different clips of YouTube videos. This one person had to go to 3 interviews, 3 rounds of interviews just to be a janitor. There was a software engineering job application, position. They got 1,600 applicants, and 81 of those applicants had master degrees. That's how bad it is. 1,600 people applied for one job, and some of them applied with masters. That's how bad it is. The market is trash. I think for 2 months, I was supposed to find this. They lied, and this is where Trump fired the guy and said he was lying. They lied and said, 1 month they said we created 1,047 jobs, and it was really 19,000. The other month they said we created another 140 or 150 something jobs, and it's really 14,000. We already know 300,000 Hebrew sisters has been laid off. By the end of this year, will be laid off. But I think it's 2,000 or 20,000 bankers are going to be laid off by the end of this year. There's a website called Warn, WARN. It works with EDD, and if you look at the spreadsheet from Amazon, Netflix, all that, it tells you when they're going to do cuts and when they're going to do layoffs. And you can see the job market is trash. Do not quit your job. Why you do not quit your job? And this is why it says watch and pray, because some of you guys, if you guys catch it, you're like, dude, I work at this company. Maybe I need to start filling out application. Fill out application for better paying jobs now. It's probably going to take you 9 months to get a better paying job. So do it now. Fill out for applications. Start applying for better paying jobs now. I'm telling you now, because if you get laid off, and you're 9 months out to get a new job, and the job's probably going to pay less, and you're going to take anything because you're in a straight vulnerable situation, why not just apply for the better paying jobs and better opportunities now and just jump ship? Don't wait until, they laid off Susan, hopefully I'm not. Just apply now. And if your job seems secure, then just deny the job. Apply now, because it's probably going to take you 9 months out. Another story, this woman did 6 rounds of interviews that took over 2 months and still didn't get the job. Still didn't get a job. Another story is people with degrees are going over a year before finding a job. I'm talking about people with degrees filing applications. We already know that AI is filtering out applications, and so they're not even looking. These employers are not even looking. They're using AI just to filter out the applications, period. So they're filing hundreds and hundreds of applications and changing their resume and sending their resume and doing all this to not even be seen by a real person. It is getting bad. I thank the Almighty that I went to a trade school, so it's very easy. They'll see what you're about right away, see your knowledge, see your hustle, see if you're on time, see if you cut corners, or you do hack work, or you do clean work, and you take pride in your work. It's real quick. You know what I'm saying? You can say, hey, I came from this company. You got word of mouth, people to validate your stuff, but it's getting tough. I would suggest you guys look at what companies are on that website, see what it's about, because it's getting tight. Start applying for other jobs now. You don't want to have to look when you're already laid off. Just do it now. Do it now. The average time I'm telling you, thousands of people have ran out of unemployment, but they're not losers. They're application. No reply. It's not like they're trying to be a loser, trying to stay on unemployment. There's just no jobs out there, so apply now. All right, go ahead and give me Proverbs 26. Proverbs 26. I'm gonna wait. Proverbs 26. Let's start at verse 13. The slothful man saith, there's a lion in the way, a lion is in the streets. He makes any excuse not to work. And as the door turneth upon his hinges, so doth the slothful man upon his bed. He just wants to sleep in, not wake up in the morning and go to work. I've seen at least like 8 people get laid off for, well, maybe not 5 to 8 people get laid off for attendance. Either taking days off or they're late all the time. It's like, come to work. Just come to work. Construction is no joke, man. That's why I kind of like it, because it's like, you can't play around with that stuff, man. We're in construction, we're where the last where man could be man. It's like, you showing up late all the time, they're going to lay you off. Or at least when it gets slow, you're going to be first to go. So let's keep going. The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom, and grieveth him when it brings to his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason. We already know it's a sin to be lazy. And I usually deal with this with people that are overweight. If you know you're overweight, you know you're obese, you know the doctor's giving you information, it's not that's saying, hey, you need to lose weight or you need to eat healthy, and you're not doing it, then how is that not being a sluggard? How is that not being lazy? You know there's health risks with being overweight. Rein that in. It's free. Go for some speed walks. Jog for like 15 seconds. Walk again. Fast. Jog for 15 seconds. If you can't do a run straight, work on your body. If you're saying you're a child of the Most High and your body is the temple, treat the temple right. Put down some of the soda. Say, hey, if I drink 3 sodas a day, I'm only going to drink 2 sodas a day. Start off like that. A couple months later, I'm only drinking 1 soda a day. Me, I cheat a whole bunch on Friday and Saturday. Pizza, Sonics, candy from thing, but whatever I don't finish Saturday night, I throw in the trash. All the remainder of the candy, I throw in the trash. And then Sunday through Thursday, nothing. Nothing. I'm talking about I don't eat sweets at all. I don't refrain from sugar. I only eat food, period. With the exception of the pre-workout, because the pre-workout's sweet. With the exception of that. But, hey, rein that stuff in. Or, get healthy. Don't be a sluggard. Don't be lazy. Get in shape. You're the Almighty's temple. Get in shape. But back to what I'm bringing that to work is start filing for better paying jobs. Out hustle people on your job. Don't think because you've been here, it's okay for you to be late. Because you've been here longer than all the other people. You don't know if that's really getting on the manager's nerves. Because he doesn't say nothing, don't mean it don't get on his nerves. There's a lot of times your wife or your husband or your kids do things and you don't necessarily deal with it, but that doesn't mean it didn't make you upset. So, hey, don't get too comfortable. Don't be lazy. Don't get complacent and show up late here, or don't get the paperwork there. Or, you know how some people cut corners on the job and they get lazy. Be professional. Keep your job, because there's no guarantee you're going to find a job within a month. It's more, I will put more money that you will not find a job in a month than that you will find a job in a month. So, hey, be on it. Do not be a sluggard. Do not be slothful. Not only is that a sin, but that's self-destruction. Then you're going to be praying to the Almighty, please give me a job, please. And you're doing all that stuff when it could have been preventative. 80% of the stuff in our life is stuff that's self-inflicted. Why do you have health problems? Because you smoke cigarettes. Why do you have health problems? Because you're overweight. You knew you were overweight. You chose to stay overweight for 10 years. And then now you hear some news from the doctor that you don't want to hear and you're upset. Be upset at yourself because you failed yourself. Oh, why? Why are you struggling financially? Because you chose to run up your credit cards. Oh, why need? If we look at your credit card, you say that you have $8,000 in debt. Out of that $8,000, how many of those items were emergency items? And how many gas station, this, TV, rims on my car, a Gucci purse, whatever, right? And I get it, some people use it for groceries and then they pay it back to build their credit. But how much stuff on that was superficial, instant gratification, stuff you did not need? Exactly. Self-inflicted. You're struggling and you're paycheck to paycheck because you don't have financial competency. Competent. So that would be competency. Maybe. Let me know if that's a word. I'm going to look that up. So, give me, if it's not a word, I just made it up. another thing, back to that. For the first time in history this year, the billionaires pay less taxes than the common class workers, than the average workers. Billionaires pay less taxes. The first time in history. I know millionaires do tax cuts and whatnot, but billionaires pay less taxes than the average worker. Carry on. With that being said, I suggest you guys to start a hustle. Let this be the era of a side hustle. Let all you guys, brother and sister in the body, figure out another means to generate income. Please do this. Watch and pray. You see these days, the job market is only going to get worse. Inflation is only going to get higher, and AI is only going to take more jobs. Get the side hustle now. Generate another set of income. If this is your main job, your first goal should be, I want this job to be only 90% of my income. So I'm going to get a side hustle. And then pretty soon it's just 70% of my income and 50% of my income. And at around 50% of my income, if I got laid off, I could still make it with unemployment or something until I find something new. But get to the point to where that one job isn't 100% of your income. And let's keep pressing. There we go. That's a word. I said it right. So, next one. Trump passed a bill for the student loan education cap. So because all these people are defaulting on their student loans that the government's giving out and they're garnishing their wages, they said, let's put a cap. It's only $100K, $100,000, which there's pros and cons, and they're saying there's $200,000 if you're in a dental, medical, or law school. So they're making a cap. That way these people can't be a debt slave forever. Let's just put a cap and not giving all these loans, because everyone's defaulting on these loans. We thought we were going to make them a slave, but no, everyone's defaulting, so they can't be a slave if they choose not to pay the debt, right? So they choose just not to pay the debt. Let's start garnishing their wages, but let's just make it a cap. So just in case they don't pay the loan, then right. So there's people fighting it, mainly minorities. So I see the pros and the cons. On one side, you have where they're saying, hey, these loans give minorities an opportunity to compete, because unless I have rich parents, typically white, that can pay for my law school or pay for my medical or pay for this or pay for being an engineer or pay for this, then I'm pretty much excluded out of the higher paying jobs. So we need these loans. On the other aspect is, look what the colleges are doing these loans, and they're making these people debt slaves, because you're getting into fields that's oversaturated and you don't find a job in what you do, and now you're a debt slave. And so I want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe they should put a cap? Because essentially it's just going to be only the wealthy could afford to pay their kids into their tuition. Because $100,000 only goes so far. If you're trying to go to a good field like medical school or something, $100,000 is really not a lot. Or do you think that they should do it how they've been doing and make people debt slaves? It's kind of a hard one right there, right? So there's people trying to fight against that, but I kind of have mixed views on that, you know what I'm saying? Because have seen a lot of minorities be like the first child to graduate a good school and get a good paying job because that loan, and they made their parents proud. But I've seen way more, probably 1 to 100 of people in my trade. They're an engineer, couldn't find work, and they come into construction. They got a degree in this, came to construction, couldn't find no work. You know? So we'll see what's up. Last topic. Banks are starting to work with social media, and they're weaponizing free speech. So a lot of people are being debanked. I've already known 2 people, YouTuber people I've watched, that debanked them because their YouTube channel. Journalists are being debanked. Ones that are talking about the UK, the war in Ukraine and Gaza. Journalists, they're getting debanked. They're saying, we're not transferring funds. You need to figure out how to get your money or transfer your funds to another bank. You cannot be a bank with us. So the banks, the government's using banks to go against these people. And we know this is why everything is going digital. because the UK have been sending people to jail for posts. And then Twitter is already canceling people. If you speak on the genocide in Gaza, Elon with the free speech is canceling and filter out these people, right? This one company in Iceland, they're going after a company. In Iceland, you thought Iceland are neutral. They debanked a company called Talk Liberation. Is to compete with Twitter. Talk Liberation, and it was they're developing a privacy app where it's the government can't know what you're doing and spying on you. So it's decentralized. It's just like Twitter, but you could talk whatever you want to do, and they can't subpoena it and say we need all that information. They can't know the identity, and everything's private. So you don't have the government monitoring it. So what did Iceland do? Because the company, I guess I'm supposing Iceland, there's no data mining and there's no algorithms on it. So it's just 100% people. There's no bots. What did Iceland do? They debanked the company. So even like BitChute, there's places in Europe trying to ban BitChute. And I tell you, BitChute's where you want to get, if you're trying to get whistleblowers on medicinal things, whether cancer, anything, you need to jump on BitChute. I'll start putting that stuff up there. But BitChute, now they get a lot of money from advertising, so I hope they don't just turn to the dark side. But a lot of stuff was being put on BitChute because there's a little censoring now. It was way more free back in the day, but maybe they don't want to lose their sponsorships. So once money comes in, it clouds their judgment. So BitChute puts out a lot of real content, and because of that, there's places thinking about banning BitChute. So now what happens when they just debank BitChute? BitChute's making millions of dollars through advertising or whatever because they got to pay for their servers, right, and all that stuff. But then they get debanked. So it's coming to where their social credit system is going to come on the scene, and you say a post you don't want, not only you could get laid off by your job, but you could get debanked. It's coming. So watch and pray that these days don't catch you on. I think it was WhatsApp. Was it WhatsApp or it was something? That could not be censored, and it was not crypto. It was, what's it called? Where it's not crypto. It was not synchronized. I forgot the word where they can't find the identity. It's privacy. I forgot the word for it. I just said it earlier. Encrypted. It was encrypted, and so what they did is when finally the CEO or whatnot from WhatsApp came to France, they arrested him. I think it was WhatsApp. They arrested him, and then once they let him go to his own country, all of a sudden he changed the terms of services to where now Europe has access to people's identity and what people say because it was encrypted messaging. And they didn't like that because they couldn't spy on you. And so what did they wait? They wait until he came here and arrested him on some bogus charges. And all of a sudden, he got out and changed the term of services. And so we see that the people that's trying to get liberation and freedom of speech is being attacked. So get ready for that too. Please have your stuff. Keep money, cash. That's why I don't like dealing with banks. Keep your stuff on cash. Keep other means and resources. I don't say too much about how we make money and what we do here. But have other means and resources. You should be getting out of Babylon. Push towards getting a dual citizenship. Push towards having more than one bank. Have all that stuff. Get all your ducks in a row because it's going down. So praise the Almighty. Watch and pray that these days don't catch you unaware. With all that said being done, keep standing. Don't drop standards. Give the Almighty a hand clap. Shalom.